Hey, what's up, everyone? And happy Friday. And welcome to the Topic with Anthony podcast, where I share uplifting topics on a biblical view. I've been doing this now maybe for about maybe a year and a half, and I really enjoy sharing these topics. They're short, not drawn out, and just enough to give you something to think about and meditate on. So let's dive right in. Well, today's topic is about unforgiveness versus bitterness. Unforgiveness and bitterness may seem similar, but they have distinct differences that impact our lives. Now, we all know that unforgiveness is holding on to a grudge or resentment towards someone who we may feel have wronged us, and we choose not to have the willingness to forgive them. Remember, forgiveness, it is a choice. While on the other hand, bitterness goes deeper, affecting our overall outlook on life. Bitterness can also spring from wounds of unkind or hurtful words that are spoken or from unjust treatment. For example, being treated unfairly on the job or in relationships can cause bitterness towards others. Bitterness and resentment will often be associated with the spirit of unforgiveness. Bitterness, it is like poison that slowly eats away at our peace and our happiness. When we hold on to bitterness, we are ultimately hurting ourselves more than anyone else. Sometimes we feel that we want to get even with other people and we're going to hurt them, but we're hurting ourselves more than anyone. And by understanding the difference between the two, we can acknowledge the pain caused by unforgiveness and work towards healing and letting go. So let's explore this topic just a little deeper on a biblical level. Now, the Bible teaches us that forgiveness is a very important and continual part of the Christian life. When we experience hurt or when someone mistreats us, it becomes very easy to harbor bitterness and resentment towards that person. The last thing that we want to do is to move forward and forgive them as if the situation has never occurred. But do you not know that being bitter and refusing to forgive a person will actually disqualify you from receiving forgiveness? A lot of times, we want to receive mercy and grace from others when we mess up and when we make mistakes. But when the shoe is on the other foot, we don't want to give it. We don't want to extend that mercy and grace. We want people to suffer for what they have done to us. But according to Matthew chapter 6, verse 14 through 15, a person who doesn't forgive others will not be forgiven by God. Let's check that scripture out. I'm going to read that from I'm going to read that from the easy to read version. And once again, that's Matthew chapter 6, verse 14 through 15. And it says this: Yes, if you forgive others for the wrongs they do to you, then your Father in heaven will also forgive your wrongs. But if you don't forgive others, then your Father in heaven will not forgive the wrongs that you do. Forgiveness is very important. Unforgiveness is like a key that we hand over to Satan, giving him an open door into our lives. And that is a door that we definitely don't want to open up. Now, I used to struggle in this area of unforgiveness and bitterness, but I have definitely grown in this area with the help of God, because I realized what they said or what they did was not worth me damaging my relationship between me and my God. When we hold on to grudges and resentment, we create a stronghold for the enemy to work in our hearts and in our minds. A stronghold can be thoughts that keep us from moving forward in life. And it also affects our relationship with God. And that is why it is so important to recognize the power of forgiveness and breaking those chains and reclaiming our peace and our freedom. Forgiving one another is very, very important. And unforgiveness will always produce bitterness, and bitterness can be directly traced back to the failure to forgive. In the book of Hebrews, chapter 12 and verse 15, it warns us not to let bitterness take root in our hearts because it can poison our relationships and hinder our spiritual growth. To overcome bitterness, we must choose to forgive those who have wronged us and release the pain and resentment that we are holding on to. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted to share this topic is because I believe that there are so many people who say that they are Christians, yet many of those same people are living with unforgiveness and bitterness in their hearts that Jesus warns us against. And if it is God's intent to treat every person on earth with the grace as if they have never sinned before, it's time that God's people extend that same forgiveness to the rest of the world around them. After all, your own life and salvation depends on it. So in conclusion, if you're experiencing unforgiveness and bitterness today, ask God to help you. And if you're not for sure, ask God to reveal it to you. Trust in God's love and grace to heal your broken heart and to guide you towards forgiveness today. Like I said earlier, forgiveness is a very important part of life. And I want to thank all of you for joining me on this episode of the topic of unforgiveness versus bitterness. We've seen how critical forgiveness is in freeing ourselves from the chains of resentment and bitterness, and how it can transform our outlook and relationships. Remember, forgiveness, it is a choice that leads to healing and peace. But without God, it can be impossible. Let's continue to grow and transform together. Until next time, keep embracing grace and fostering peace in your lives. And if you enjoy the topic with Anthony, please like and follow for more topics and videos. And remember to stay encouraged, encourage someone else, and don't forget to take care of yourself. God bless you. Have a great day.